The weather is a changing. Well, I haven't been here for about a week, and I'm not quite sure what they've done yet, and that's why I'm going to go in there and check it out. But I think they've finished the roof, but I know they haven't put the Tyvek paper on yet, have they? I was kind of thinking they were going to do that while I was gone. Oh, look at this. They're starting to frame this. I wasn't quite sure. I didn't quite think they were going to do something like this. It looks like they're going to build this all out. Look at that. And they'll probably have some doors here, and I thought that kind of odd. See here, this is that concrete column so that when cars come in here, they wouldn't hit this, because this is where the air conditioning unit is going to be, the heaters. And that doesn't do any good now, does it? That probably should have been installed right out here. And I don't know if they're going to have to put one in there or not. The inspector may make them put one in there. Not quite sure. This might have been some afterthought or not. I'm not quite sure, because if they would have had this on the plans, I would have thought they would have measured this out properly, and this would have went out there, or else whoever put that in, they just didn't actually measure this out. Okay, well, so it looks like the framer's been here at least for that. And let's go in here, let's see if the electrician has been in here yet. And I don't think he has. I don't think the electrician's been here. I've already showed you this and for the plumbing, and I think the plumber, I'm going to guess the plumber's been here. Let's just take a meander through here, because last time I was here, the plumber had not finished back here. Let's just see if he's been here for that. Oh, I see that somebody's done some framing there. And no, the plumber's not come yet, because we know this was here from before. Actually, the plumber, well, that's going to stay just like that, because there's going to be a cabinet here. Remember, we pulled this off before, and this has been capped off. But I know the inspector probably, well, I don't know if the inspector's come here or not. This would be full of water before the inspector came, and if the plumber has done everything and has called for an inspection, maybe this was filled up with water, and then after the inspector was here, they drained it all. I'm not quite certain about that. And see, remember in here before, we had seen that this was framed out, and I figured they would probably do something here, because they just had those top plates on there, and sure enough, they've lowered this down, and this is going to be a fireplace insert, it looks like. See here? And it looks like, well, I was looking at this little drawing here. It looks like there's some cabinets on the left and right hand side of this area here. And there'll probably be a fireplace insert there. I don't see a little cutout yet for, actually it would be on this other side, wouldn't it? For the flue. They have not cut anything out for that just yet. I'm sure they will. Unless it's an electric one. Could it possibly be an electric one where they just have the front lit up and a heater attached to it with no vent going up through there? It might be something like that. Who knows? I'm just gonna go out here and see if they've got the rest of the framing done on this roof. And it looks like they have, because before this plywood didn't go all the way out. and they've got all the plywood installed up here. That looks nice and clean. I'm wondering if this is just going to be left like that, and with nothing filled in here. And it looks like they've finished their fascia boards along this side, and they've trimmed that out. Remember, I'm thinking they're not going to use that one post base, and they'll probably finish off this beam a slightly different way. I can see that it's not cut perfectly straight there, and maybe that's going to be wrapped with something else. This end, I don't know. We'll just have to see. Okay, but yeah, I don't think I'm just not sure if the plumber has been here or not. We'll look in here and see. We saw that most of this plumbing was done. Oh, I guess the plumber has been here, because see here, this is a tub, and usually they have cardboard, and they set cardboard out like that. See here, bathtub. There's a bathtub right in there. It's just a low one, isn't it? And there's your tub. That's probably a steel one. I don't think it's cast iron. It looks like he's got the drain. He's got the drain hooked up, and see, here's his water spout. Here's his valve right in here. And I don't think it's been inspected yet. They would put some straps on here still. Isn't that something, how everything nowadays is just that plastic? And then see, he's reduced it up to the a copper, not a copper fitting, a brass fitting right there, and then he's come out with something nice and sturdy. Okay, you don't want to have plastic attached to that. Okay, so the plumber has been here, and they've cleaned up the framing guys have been here finishing their stuff, and they've cleaned up everything. Remember, they had all kinds of stuff on the floor from before. Okay, and before I got here, I saw some guys drive off, but no electrician has been here yet. Here's his wire from before. And I know that the plumber still has to come, and I'm not sure when he's going to do the tub. I'm walking back here because I know there's going to be a tub right here, and so the tub's not here yet. There's going to be a drain that's here, because I remember the plumber left that underneath, and there's going to be a shower there. And he might just kind of leave that alone like that until they get further along. This could be a freestanding tub, one of those with the pedestal feet on there. I just don't know. And if that's the case, he might be waiting to figure out exactly where the water pipe stand's going to be, how it's all going to be a finished thing. And he might be getting his directions from the contractor. Hey, where do you want me to install that exactly? Because see, we don't see any plumbing lines coming out like for the hot and cold water. I know the hot and cold water is coming up from the ground, and he'll probably wait for that. That's my guess. Okay, and I know, see, here's the cabinets here, right there, and here's some more right there. And I thought that was kind of slick for the general contractor. He's taken copies of different things that are going to go on each wall, just as a reminder for the guys who are framing everything out. And I know that, speaking of framing, I know they have not wrapped this yet for their ceiling height. How the ceiling height's going to be one level and then it's going to go up, because I know there's going to be a 2x6 or something going all the way around this, kind of like how they built this out over here. You see how they frame this up, where the ceiling is flat and then it comes up, and they've wrapped all the way around this thing, and then the sheetrock will be up higher. So this is going to be inset and it's going to be up higher. Well, they're going to do that same thing with that inset in this room here. You see how the trusses kind of step up. See, so I know they're going to have to still band that. So it looks like the framers are still in need of coming here. And it looks like they've installed some plywood, OSB plywood on here. He's wrapped this up here. I was kind of wondering for where his beam saddle was going to be, how they were going to wrap drywall around that, and that was a good idea. They just installed a layer of this OSB plywood. That way, when they put the drywall on there, those bolts and the metal saddle is not going to be in the way. I believe that's the only reason why they did that on there, just to kind of fur that out. And in fact, they used this wall. This was a shear wall, and when they came to here, they decided just to continue it all the way over there. The shear wall probably is from this point on over that way, not necessarily for the beam. That's a big old huge glulam beam and stuff. They wouldn't have had to have wrapped that, but they ended up wrapping that to fur that out. So that worked out well, so that they didn't have to just stop that there or wrap this around. You know, they had to do something up there anyway, so that was kind of nice how they did that. And I still think they're going to frame up above there. I would think that would make sense, and they probably just haven't gotten their directions on exactly from the general contractor, the framers. Hey, what do you want to do on top of this little wall here, so that when you come through the front door, here's your front door right here. They just they have it framed now. That's a nice window up there. Remember, they didn't have that. They didn't have all that framed out from prior. Okay, so when you walk in the front door and look at this, I think they're still going to put a wall up there so that you don't see the ceiling beyond this beam. Just so, here's your entrance area, and then as you walk in, you're going to see the grand entrance ceiling way up high without seeing it through this area here. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. And I'm thinking the framers, they're almost done. You know, on the outside, they've also ran trim and their fascia boards, and they've tied everything in exactly how they're going to have it. Okay, and actually, I say they're not going to come back, but yes, they are going to come back, because I know they still have to install their Tyvek paper around the entire outside of the building, of the house. Okay, and so he's got most of his other stuff there. He's going to have a little bit of pickup stuff to do, adding some drywall backing. I can see up in the ceiling. He still has to do that, and probably some other little knickknacks, different things like that. Okay, but yeah, I was kind of thinking the electrician would be in here doing his work, And he's not done his other stuff yet, because we know all that has to come in. But see, the plumber's got most of his stuff in now. I'm not sure if he's called for an inspection yet or not. We'll see what he's done. Remember before he didn't have this hooked up here, and this gas line looks like it's hooked up now. Okay. Here's his water lines. He's got those. Well, see, this one here's not strapped yet. So I guess he has not called for his inspection yet, but he's got most of all of his stuff pretty much ready for that, I would think. Okay. And see, in the bathrooms here they have the cabinetry shown. Here's his cabinet, what it looks like. And most of the time, I've never really seen general contractors do that, but he's gone ahead and done all of that in the different bathrooms and stuff. And here's the laundry area. He's even got a picture here where there's a cabinet to the left, the washer and dryer, and he's got some full height cabinets over here, and then cabinets going across. So when you look at that, you know, it's a good idea to do that. That way, the electrician knows exactly what's going on here, so he doesn't make a boo-boo and put his electrical where it shouldn't be, or if he's got light fixtures that go up here, he can look and see where the cabinets are and how they're going to be lined up. All that stuff should really be on the plans anyways, but it's just for verification. Okay, just for verification. And even in the kitchen area, we'll go in here. At first, I wasn't even sure this was the kitchen area. Isn't that kind of odd? Well, it's not odd. You're going to go through the front door into this great room, this big, huge room, and here's your kitchen over here. And so he's got all the kitchen cabinets with the drawing here and a picture of what everything's going to look like with all the different things, all of the different things that go over here, as well as on this side wall. I thought that was kind of slick how you did that for them, because like I say, most guys don't do that. Most general contractors don't go the extra mile and do that. I think he probably does that because he found on a previous job where he probably had an issue about something, and he thought to himself, you know what, from now on, phooey on that. I'm going to go ahead and do that, because you know, it helps out for the plumber to know exactly where to put everything, because that was a pot filler there, and then he's got his gas line down in there, and the plumber knows where his water line goes for where the refrigerator is going to go and things like that. You know, the general contractor could have came out here with the plumber had he not done all this stuff, walked it through with them to double check, or the general contractor's project manager could have done that without this stuff. But you know, once the electrical and the plumbing and the heating and air conditioning inspections have been done, obviously all this paperwork and stuff, the guy's gonna have to pick it all up, put it back in his folder and stuff, because then after that they'll be installing the insulation in the walls, in the ceiling, and then getting ready to install the drywall. Okay, and see, like I said before, going back to the framers, I'm not sure when he's going to install the Tyvek paper on the outside of the house. He might be waiting for all of the windows to come in. The windows might go in first, then the Tyvek paper. But I've told you before Sometimes they'll do the Tyvek paper first, then the windows. And in other places, I've seen windows get installed first and then the Tyvek paper. And here's the Tyvek paper. This is enough for the entire house. Can you believe that? See this here? This is a 150-foot roll, 9 foot tall. You got 3 rolls there and a little bit there. Okay, and that's probably going to be enough for the entire house. When you install that, it's best to have 2 people holding that and 1 guy stapling it. You could have 3 people, 1 guy stapling, 2 people holding it, or at least 2 guys. There's no way you're going to try to install that yourself because they'll hold that whole roll up, and 1 guy will be at one end, and then 1 guy will kind of unroll it and roll it and roll it, and then somebody's going to go back and staple. Okay. So I guess there's not a whole lot that I'm really going to show you at this point that I haven't shown you from before. You know, but we'll see. You can feel my pain. I'm out here in a short sleeve shirt, and it's getting cold. It's towards the end of October now, and they're trying their best to get this all dried in so that this winter they can be working on the inside of the house. You know, it's always a good thing to try to plan on doing, but hey, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't work out, and you just have to work in with the rain and the snow. We're up in the snow line and stuff. This turned out really good. They finished finalizing that, and see, they did build that, and they finished that out, and that's just a fake look. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that. It almost kind of looks, I don't know. I guess when it's all done, it'll probably look fine. The slope, the pitch of that roof is different. I would have thought they would have put a peak to it, but it looks like it's just going to come out kind of flat. Because I can see fascia boards going on the side, on both sides. That just looks kind of odd, unless they're going to attach something on top of there that's being built especially for that, a turret of some sort. But I don't know. I don't know that. We'll just have to keep watching. It'll probably look really good when all the roofing gets done and all. But I'm liking how the roof lines are tied in, and the overall look of the front of the house. Did you kind of like that? All right. I guess that's pretty much all I'm gonna really show you this time, because I've really looked at most of the other stuff with you from before. Other than the final barge rafters have been installed now. This other 2x4 trim on top of the barge rafters, and you see how that goes square across there and then up at an angle when they did that, because underneath here they've got this flat, and they'll probably, and see they've got the bird stop holes up in there, but this is going to be covered here, so they'll probably put some sort of vent through there. And if that's the case, why did they have to? Well, I guess they had to do something up there as well. Once you have the vent here, there'll be a vent that goes all the way through there too. We'll see. You know, somebody else will probably be installing that, maybe the stucco guys, because I'm guessing there's going to be stucco on here above this line, but who knows? You know, most of the time, most houses nowadays are stucco, but on the bottom here, it's probably going to go with something slightly different. And I think I showed you that before. If you haven't watched that video, you probably should. Walked around here. This is probably, it's my guess, what they're gonna have from this orange line along here on down is probably going to look like this, and they'll probably be stucco from there up. And whoever did this, they just kind of did this as a sample form, because I know they're not going to just leave that. They're going to have to rip that off the wall to get the window in there. They're not going to tie in with that, I doubt. I think that's just for a sample. Somebody came out here and they said, hey, this is what we're going to do. We want your authorization for that. They should have just had something like that at their store and brought it here and just screwed it to the wall. But I think they built that right in place. Okay. Ooh. I guess the electrician's done a little bit of work. I can see that he's installed his electrical. That's kind of different how they've got this bracket, and he's got his wiring in there kind of like that. I'm not quite sure why he couldn't have just put a couple staples in there instead, but you know, they do what they have to do. These are little brackets that protect that from the drywall being screwed into an electrical wire. Anytime you get it this close, anything that's questionable, you got to put these. See up above, he didn't have to do that because he's got his hole drilled right up in the middle. See? And right here, he had to put those plates again because he had to drill his holes in there. Man, that would have been kind of tricky. He had to drill that one straight, and then he drilled this one at an angle that way, and then try to fish his wire through there. He probably notched that too. See, he tried to do it down here, and then he decided, let's just go up there and do it. All right. I'm not sure. Oh, this wire here is for his garage door opener. That's what that brown one there is for. And so, see, some of this wiring the electrician had done previous that I showed you, and it looks like he's got most of the garage pretty much done, but I think he'll still end up having to do some other things up there, some 2x4s is what I'm guessing, because I don't think the inspector's going to let him run the wire straight across there and having somebody walk on it from up in the attic, let's say. Lots of times the inspectors used to frown on that years ago, like, hey, you can't do that. Anywhere where there's enough headroom where somebody would walk, we would have to run our wires like that, way off to the side, and then come along out where we wanted them. For like the light fixtures, we'd have to run the main trunk wire in a different location, maybe out off the side, and then staple the wire to the side of your truss, coming out here and dropping for your light, coming along the side like they've done and dropping it like that. Whereas if you got your wire coming straight across like that, where you can walk up there, then we would have to put a 2x4 or 1x4 or something like that, and then nail this on the side of the 2x4. Do you see what I'm saying? Kind of like how they nailed to the side of here, except the 2x4 would be flat, and it would only be sticking up 1.5 inches. Okay, flat 2x4. And maybe he still has to do that. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. But yeah, most of his electrical in the garage, all of his rough wiring looks like it's been done. Okay. Here's his light fixtures, how he does his wires, and see, anytime you're within 6 inches of the box or so, you've got to put your staple, and then from there, I don't know what the requirement is, how far apart you have to have each staple, but I always do it wherever it sort of made sense. And see, he's got a block there, so he's got one before the block, and then he just put one in the middle too. Okay. And that's just kind of how you run your wiring. And this is I'm guessing it's 12.2 with ground. And usually you can see on here somewhere what it would be. It's either 14.2 or 12.2. And I guess if I was going to look in one of the boxes, I could tell and see this one's yellow. And in some wires yellow and some wires white. It doesn't necessarily mean all of it is the same, but I'm guessing this wire here is probably 12 gauge, 12.2 with ground, and the yellow is probably 14.2 with ground. But don't quote me on that. I'd have to look on the actual wire. Lots of times it'll show. I can't really see it. Well, that looks like it says 12. I think there's a 12 there. And so, lots of times you can tell by just kind of feeling on the wire, but I'm not really able to tell too much. I kind of like those straps. I've never really seen anything like that. But if you didn't have a standoff like that, see, that was enough for 4 wires. You just put the wire in there, and clips in there. He could have put 2 wires and stacked them on top of each other with a certain size height staple and done them side by side, 2 wires, 2 wires. You wouldn't want to put 4 wires under one staple. They have different size staples for stuff like that. Okay, some are designed for just one Romex wire, and then if you put 2 on top of each other, you've got another one that's taller than that. Look how big that staple is. My word, that's for that big wire. See how big that is? That's coming out of the electrical panel, and that one went across, and you can see where it goes up there, and it goes all the way across. And then they've installed a separate sub panel that's the main electrical sub panel. And then they've come off there, and then this is going to be an additional sub panel where this gray wire goes down into that, and then they'll run more electrical circuit breakers out of that for running in the house, for all the electrical in the house, the lights, fixtures, the ceiling fans, the light switches, the electrical duplex outlets, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, well, I was hoping to show you more, but hey, next time I come, I'm sure they'll have something else going on. Let's see here. I don't know if I showed you this. This is another, looks like another fireplace area there, and this says a heat and glow direct vent gas fireplace. Okay, so this one's going to be a gas one, so I know they're going to have a gas fitting somewhere that they're going to have to attach to that, and I'm not seeing any gas pipe coming out of there, and that might have been something that the plumber missed, that he has to tap in for gas. Or let's just see if there's something here that's capped off, and I'm not seeing anything on here that's capped off, but he's got some gas lines underneath the house. He's going to have to cut it, or it might just be capped off underneath the house, and he's going to have to come out and come into this wall, and they just built it like that, and then they'll have the flue going out where those 2 2x4s go across there. It'll go straight up, and it may, my guess is, there's the peak to the roof is way up there, and it'll probably come out of here and then 45 and kind of come up towards the back. and the vent will come out of the back of the house rather than the front. That's my guess. Okay. All right. Well, I think that's all I'm going to show you for today. I just thought I would show you this roof line here. You got the fascia board or the barge rafters coming down, and then see how it bumps out like that. And that's so that they decided to make everything underneath flat. Okay, they could have left that out and then just had it come down at an angle, and your stucco could have gone straight up. But a lot of times if they do stucco out here, lots of times they'll do a flat underneath the eave area. And if you don't like that look on the outside, what you could do is you could have everything square and flat from the wall, from this wall right here over flat. You could do that, okay? If you didn't want this other, then you would have had that flat right to there, and then this last little bit could have went up at the same angle, you know, rather than flat. But they decided to do it that way, and so they've got it matched like that over there, and then on all of the roof areas where their overhang is all flat. And so when we go to the front of the house, you look, they've got that same flat little piece right there, see? And that's how they decided to finish off all of it, so everything looks the same. So wherever you got that, they've done the same way. Okay? I'm not sure if I'm a fan of it, but it all looks the same, so it all looks fine. Okay? And when they get all of the stucco done and all the roof done and all that kind of stuff, you're not going to drive up to the house and say, why'd they do that? It's all going to look like it was meant to be. Okay? But you do, if you have a preference, you can do it that different way that I said. Then you would just have the rafters coming down at the angle, at the angle, at the angle, at the angle. You see what I mean? So you can pick and choose how you like it. Well, that's all I got for this time. But I'll be back with more videos. Yes, always more videos on how to build a house. And if you've not watched all the episodes, or if you think you've watched them but you're not quite sure and you want to double check, go to my main YouTube channel page, click on playlists, and scroll down to how to build a house, and you'll find them.